Hey folks, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the Archetype of Man channel. My name is Nick, and today I'm very excited to bring you kind of a first look video at this. This is a 1911, for those who aren't familiar. This particular one does not shoot 45 ACP, it shoots 9mm and uses Glock 17 or larger magazines. So yes, I know, this is heresy. I'm holding heresy in my hands right now. This is a Stealth Arms Platypus. So let's go ahead and get a couple things out of the way. 1911, 9mm, the slide and everything on it, very similar to what you'd normally find with a 1911. Internal extractor, very cool. Manual safety, in this case ambidextrous safety. I actually ordered mine after they started offering the ambi safety, so I was lucky to get that. Some folks got theirs before they started doing that. You have your grip safety, you have your standard manual of operations, manual of arms for 1911 mag release over here, but the grip itself is a little bit fatter to accommodate the Glock magazine. Immediately folks are going to say, oh no, that means it's going to have a Glock grip angle. I don't know how they did it, but some sort of Harry Potter voodoo stuff going on in there. This is, they say 17.5 degree. I don't know, 1911 is normally 18 degree. I can't tell a difference in a half degree, but very similar and comparable to a 1911 grip angle. Definitely not the Glock grip angle. So my particular setup here, they offer a variety of options and customization features and things like that that you can do on their website, which I will link down in the description. This is a commander length with a threaded barrel. The Cerakote on here, you choose all that when you're building it out. So if you want one like mine, I guess I can put the details and the Cerakote colors down in the description if you want to copy it. But everything on here is custom. I went with commander length, full dust cover with a rail, optics capabilities. They have a variety of optics that they are offering cuts for. This is the K-Series Holosun, Delta Point Pro they do. RMR CC, and I'm probably forgetting stuff. I know the regular Trijicon RMR print is coming at some point. It's been delayed right now. Fiber optic front sight, and it ships with a plate where the optic is with a Novak style rear sight. This one, you can see I took that off, and they include that backup rear, which we'll show more when we go. I'll give you a close-up 360 on it. So it comes with a backup rear sight that you can put there once you mount your optic. Optic mounting was easy. You could tell the gun was milled for it. Very awesome there. Also did slide cuts on each side. So let's just give you a close-up. There, now you can see it a little bit better. So the Cerakote is just kind of a creation of my own imagination. There's some green, there's some FDE, there's some like blackish gray stuff. You choose color fill all over. Put myself a nice little black stripe back there, and it's looking nice. So this is Stealth Arms. This is the Platypus, which some people are going to get wrapped around the axle about the name. I think it's the perfect name. This is a 1911 that uses Glock magazines. So there, you can see the rear sight is actually the same height. I didn't bring the plate out with me to show you, but it's actually the same height as the Novak sight that was on there. So you do, because of how low they cut that optic cut, which is really cool, you do get a good co-witness through the optic window. So there we are there, 1/2 by 28, and the attention to detail on this is amazing. I'll take this thread protector off. Again, the gun is clear before any of y'all freak out. Put an O-ring inside the thread protector. Such a simple thing, but it is huge. It definitely helps keep that from walking off when you're shooting. 1/2 by 28 threads. There's your mag release. Generous, sticks out a good bit so you can get to it pretty easy. The only real difference between this and my other 1911s is the grip width, which I like. I've got medium-ish hands, so that's nice. Down here, magwell is an option. I chose it because why not? And it's very cool. But the one caveat I will note here, when using your flush-fitting Glock 17 mags, you definitely got to make sure you seat them. You're not really going to be able to strip them out if there's an issue. I don't know how common that is for you, but I remedy that by planning on using these mags. These are the 19 rounders. I have the most of these anyway, so sticks out. Then with one in the chamber, you got 20 rounds on the gun. Not insignificant. Got some HSTs for the occasion. It feeds everything I've thrown at it so far well. I'm at about 250 rounds at this point as of filming. We're going to shoot it some more. It's very cool. So it is a 2-piece guide rod. You're going to need an Allen wrench to take that apart, and bushing barrel. So very cool there. Let's shoot it. So given that we have a pistol that uses Glock mags, we may as well try it with a extended 33 round magazine. Go ahead and spoiler alert in case you're wondering, the only Glock magazines I have are actual Glock magazines. I don't have any of the Magpul mags anymore or any of that. These mags are relatively inexpensive, and that's part of the appeal of this instead of something like a Staccato, which we'll get to that later. So I'm only going to be shooting OEM Glock mags today. So spoiler alert there, but I have a ton of these. So, all right, enough. This thing, oh, let's load and shoot some more. Why not use another happy stick? Oh yeah, let's shoot up there on the hill. All right, now way up there on the hill, we're about 80 yards as I paced it off. Let's see, I've got a fresh 17 round magazine. We'll see what I can get. I'll have to move on this side, there's tree branches in the way. All right, hopefully you guys can still see up there. Let's see here. Got a lot of them anyway. The trigger on here is awesome. Let's go back up there. I got a few more things I forgot to cover earlier because I was so excited and wanted to shoot it. The trigger on this gun though. And yes, I know I'm a double action guy, but the trigger is still awe-inspiring. So as many of you know, I'm not really a trigger snob. I rarely change the trigger on any of my guns. I'm a firm believer in that's a tiny part of the equation for shooting. All that being said, the trigger on this pistol is awesome. There's 3 different trigger weights you can choose when you're ordering it. There's one that I believe is 4 pounds, 3.5 to 4 pounds, or 4 pounds to 4.5, I'm not sure. There's the middle one, which is 3 to 3.5 pounds, which is the one I picked. And then they have one that is 2.5 to 3 pound, which they say on their site is really only recommended for competition. Now, that being said, if you know what you're doing, there's manual safeties on the gun, all that good stuff. I opted for the middle one just because as a double action guy, as long as it's crisp, I'm happy. So that being said, I'm gonna turn the camera around and we'll kind of go through this together. I don't have a trigger pull gauge out here with me to show you, but it's awesome. So first and foremost, you got your safety there, which is cool. It's ambi, which is useful. So let's do the trigger together. Little take up, that's your take up. You get to a wall. There's your brake. For reset, there, and you're ready to go. No real over travel. So it's a nice trigger for sure. So the gun ships in a nice range bag, which I have 2 German Shepherds now, and they've got some hair on, but nice Stealth Arms range bag. Inside the bag, you have mag storage, which, as you can see, I got stuff in there. It comes with 2 OEM black Glock 17 mags, which was nice. No corners cut there. You get an owner's manual. You get your optics mounting hardware if you select an optics cut. And I'd much rather have something like this than a cardboard box or a plastic box that I'm going to stack in a corner and not really use. I know everybody wants to know about price. Well, how much is it? How much is it? I think the base price starts at $1,400. As you start adding options, things get more expensive. If you wanted to duplicate this build, I think I paid $1,867 and some change, and that was shipped. When I placed my order, the order lead times were 10 to 12 weeks. They have since gotten inundated. At first, I think it was something crazy like 2 to 4 weeks or something. Then it went 4 to 6. It's crept up. Right now, I think it still reflects 14 to 16 weeks on the website. I was right at 17 weeks. Now, to be fair, it was like the day after I placed my order that the lead time shot up. So Stealth Arms is an American company. They make their parts here in the US. They've been making 1911 frames for a long time, but when legislation was introduced that cut down on 80% frames, they kind of went another direction and started building complete guns. So the Platypus is just one thing they offer. They have traditional 1911s that you can get in 9, 10 millimeter, 45 ACP, obviously, and I think 38 Super. And you can do a lot of the same design features that are here on those as well. I think with maybe the exception of the magwell. I'm not 100% on that. Obviously, they're not going to take Glock magazines. They're going to use traditional 1911 magazines in whatever caliber you choose. So these are not cheap guns. This is actually the most expensive handgun I have purchased. What made me get it was I had been on the fence about getting a Staccato for a long time. That was a lot of money. To get the Staccato configured the way I wanted it was going to be north of $3 grand. When this came out and I built it out, I actually built out like 3 different ones on the website. If you haven't checked that out, you really should. Couldn't decide, and eventually this is what I decided on. I'm very happy with it. My thought process on that was, I have magazines out the wazoo for Glocks. I don't have 2011 magazines. So when I started looking at different forums and things like that, and 2011 magazines being plagued with these ones work, these don't, add these parts, do this, this one fell, got bent. I'm like, well, at $80, plus or minus a substantial amount depending on what you get for a magazine, if I'm going to take it to the range, I'm going to run it, I'm going to drop my mags, I don't really want to have that ongoing expense, which magazines are a wear item. They're going to wear out, things are going to get bent and broken and whatnot. Glock magazines, pretty robust in their own right, but even when they do wear out, and you're at what, 20 bucks, 25 bucks for a new one, and a lot of us that have a lot of different types of guns, we already have Glock mags. So that was kind of it for me, and I was like, well, if I can scratch my 2011 itch with a double stack 1911 that uses Glock magazines for under $2 grand and save $1,000, then that'll be great. So that's what we did. So the good news is, you know, with the lead time there, if you put it on a credit card and you're somewhat diligent and work some overtime, you could actually pay this off in the time it takes to come in. I'm not recommending fiscal irresponsibility here, but these are very cool guns. They're built to order guns. The Cerakote's got kind of a mixed reputation in the gun world. On the one hand, I like it because it allows customization at price points you're not really going to see with other options. On the other hand, with Cerakote, it does wear, especially if it's going in and out of a holster. I actually have a spot already on the chain link grip texture. I'm not sure how well you can see it. So I have a wedding band and that rubs right there, and it's going to happen. The only way to keep a gun pristine and flawless is to put it in the safe. Don't even risk getting it out and potentially dropping it, and definitely don't take it to the range and shoot it or put it in and out of a holster. So if that's what you're wanting, I don't know that any firearm is really going to satisfy you. I'm going to use it. It's going to get worn. That's just the way it goes. So with all that being said, it's still early on. You guys have seen how it's run today. All I did when I got it was I took it apart to mount the optic. I've got oil and stuff all over it. And kind of gave it a once over. It came pretty well lubed up from the factory. I have added a little bit of lube because take it easy on this thing. But just listen to that. There's no side-to-side wobble. Everything is fit very tight. So the only thing I've done is make sure that it's wet and ready to go. There's a joke there. And I've been shooting it. So I don't know, I'll have to look and see what I've gone through today, but you guys have seen the bulk of my rounds today. Plus the 200-ish or so that I did the other day. And not a hiccup yet. So it seems to work with anything Glock 17 mag and larger. I had, those are 17 rounders, a couple 19 rounders, and a couple 33 rounders, and it's feeding just fine. I really like this. It has no issue with HSTs. I shot a box of those through it the day I got it, and it likes those just fine. So that works for me for defensive use. Also, I've been running 124 grain full metal jackets that I loaded up for this gun, just to make sure that it would, you know, that seemed to be the safest bet. But I did try it out with some 125 grain powder coated. It feeds those fine too, but I'm very impressed so far. I think that if you're in the market for a 2011, you should consider this double stacked 1911 that uses Glock magazines. Depending on what you're trying to do with it, at this point, I have no reason to say anything bad about this. The wait time, it is what it is. You're getting a custom gun done the way you want it. I'm not sure yet. There's been some hypothesizing in different forums with whether or not different features and options that you choose make it take longer. I don't know. You're getting a custom gun that can be painted any number of ways, with the parts painted any number of ways. So I think there's something to be said for that. As far as which optic to go with, given how narrow the 1911 slide is, the Holosun K series seems to be a good choice. I like these dots. I know some people want a bigger window and things like that. I like it. It goes well with the lines of the gun. The 507K, you can change the reticles and stuff. So that is cool there. I think it's really cool that they include a backup iron sight, because and the way they did that is just really cool, because there's not a whole lot of space there. The whole thing is just cool. So I have a tax stamp that I'm waiting on for an Omega 9K. When that comes in, we'll obviously be shooting it suppressed too. So I do want to give a shout out to the Humble Marksman. It was your review of the Platypus that made me order mine. So there's that. And also, while I was waiting on this, there are channels that you guys should check out, like RGG, Regular Gun Guy. He actually has a live stream up on his channel. It was a live stream, now it's a video, where they're interviewing Tim, the owner of Stealth Arms, and you can kind of get some of the Q&A and stuff like that that's gone on for these guys. And it's really cool. The other thing, as far as holster compatibility goes, I've got a leather one right now that I'm kind of making work. I'm going to get the folks at Gearcraft to custom mold something for this. It's going to be kind of tricky for holster companies to make something that works for the Platypus in general, because there's so many different configurations. You know, government length versus commander length, full dust cover, not full dust cover, rail, no rail, threaded barrel, no threaded barrel. There's a lot of options there. From the slide stop forward on this, it's similar to a railed 1911, pretty darn close. Other than that though, I mean, the grip obviously has to be fatter. So you guys, if you've been watching me for any period of time, I've got large-ish hands. I find the grip comfortable. It's real similar to a Gen 5 Glock grip in terms of circumference. So if that's something you can live with, there is that. It's not a bad thing at all. The magwell I like, aside from just helping you load mags, it kind of squeezes your grip up. For me, my pinky grabs on here, it forces my middle finger up to the trigger guard, and it's just some added purchase. I like it. I don't know yet if this is going to be a concealed carry gun or not. It's kind of big. I normally carry my LCR and 327 mag, but it's definitely fun to shoot. So I think we're going to do some accuracy testing on paper, because you guys want to see that, which I laugh when you guys want to see me shoot paper, because short of, I'm freehanding it, so it's not really a reflection on the gun at all. It's more a reflection of me, and there's folks out there that have forgotten more than I'll ever know about accurate shooting. So we'll load up 10 rounds and we'll shoot it at a B8. All right, I've got 10 rounds loaded up. We're at a distance of 20 yards. I shortened it up a little bit, found a good spot for the camera to sit that's not gonna fall over. Still on a little bit of an angle. We'll shoot these 10, we'll go look at the target, and hopefully I don't embarrass myself too bad here. Well, I see one I definitely pulled, but the rest of them, if I don't see them, that means they're in the black, which isn't necessarily great, but let's take a look. Let's see how bad this was. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So spread them out a little bit. Got some work to do, but again, this is no reflection of the gun. This is the best I can do at this point with it. You could probably do better. Well, at this point, I think it's safe to say that I'm enjoying this, and I hope to continue enjoying it for the weeks and months to come. So stay tuned. I will give you a full review once I hit 1,000 rounds. This is kind of an overview, which had more details and things like that than I normally do, because, well, this is different. This is huge. One of my big wishes for the gun industry for a long time was that we would see other pistols coming out that were a departure from striker fired guns that use Glock magazines. So I know like the PSA dagger and stuff's out there, but that's still a striker fired gun. That's a alternative to Glock, but still in the same realm as Glock. This is not. This is a major departure from anything that's really been done in my lifetime that I'm aware of. If you know, feel free to drop it down in the comments. So what are your thoughts? Are you pro platypus or gatipus, platy, gatty? I've called it all sorts of things. Are you pro 1911 that uses Glock mags, or are you against it? I have a good feeling that if we separated the answers based on age, it'd be kind of telling. But I like it. It's here to stay. It's quickly becoming one of my favorite pistols. All right, guys, thank you. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, because there's going to be more platypus content where this came from. Stay safe, try to get to the range, and I'll see y'all next time.